For years, Intel technicians have been making PCs smarter. Now they face their greatest challenge ever.
Hey, no one messes with my brain until I get sprinkles. Suckers.
Now anyone can have all the brain power they want. Just look for a PC with an Intel processor inside.
By eliminating covalence inhibitors, we create triple-dense carbohydrates and thus the so-called super donut. Ooh. Many of you mock my interest in the pastry sciences.
What do you have inside?
No!
As most of us know by now, Pat Gelsinger
Retired.
When I saw that news, I thought, oh no, they fired another engineer and put a money guy in charge. However, Le Poutin actually has a master's in nuclear engineering from MIT. It's not computer science, but it's more related than you would think. The reason he was selected as the new CEO of Intel is because he revitalized Cadence Design Systems, the company where he previously served as CEO. Cadence Design Systems is a prominent American technology company specializing in electronic design automation and intelligent system design. Headquartered in San Jose, California, Cadence provides a comprehensive suite of software, hardware, and intellectual property solutions that enable the design and verification of complex semiconductor chips, printed circuit boards, and entire electronic systems. Le Pou also has an MBA from the University of San Francisco, so at least from a technical and business standpoint, he is a good choice to serve as CEO, even though I feel like Pat Gelsinger's plan would have worked in the long term.
Because no one has the patience to sit in the muck, in the filth of life for years. It takes me years to do shit.
So we've established that the new CEO isn't the reason why Intel is in such serious trouble. Then why? Well, there's actually a few reasons, but we'll start with process nodes. The problem started in 2014 with the introduction of Intel's 5th generation CPUs named Broadwell, their first 14 nanometer CPUs. They projected that they would move on to 10 nanometers by 2016, but stayed stuck on 14 nanometers all the way until 2021 with the release of their 11th generation Rocket Lake CPUs. 14 nanometers spanned across 7 generations. Remember, when Intel introduced 14 nanometers, AMD was still stuck on 28 nanometers. It would be 3 years until AMD would catch up with the release of their first generation of Ryzen in 2017, where AMD dropped a bomb with a completely newly designed chip and process node to compete with Intel. But then it just snowballed after that. 2018, AMD would release Zen Plus on the 12 nanometer node. 2019, they would release Zen 2 on the 7 nanometer node, and so on. Only until 2021 with the release of Alder Lake would Intel move to a new chip design and a 10 nanometer process. Also keep in mind that for 7 generations from 2010 to 2017, Intel had a max core count of 4. By 2017, AMD had double that. AMD had slower single core performance, but because it had more cores, it was simply better for productivity, which is also the reason why Intel started to lose to AMD on the server side of things. You know what they say, more cores, more whores. So Intel started to cling to the best gaming CPU moniker for a while, but as we know, AMD took that crown as well. I hope you took a shot every time I said the word nanometer. Reason number 2 is Intel having significant instability issues with their 13th and 14th gen processors. Consumers were experiencing system crashes caused by a microcode algorithm that resulted in incorrect voltage requests to the processor, causing it to operate at elevated voltages. These excessive voltage requests in some cases caused permanent hardware degradation. Consumers aren't really a fan of CPUs that have a reduced lifespan, so they started returning their CPUs wanting replacements, but there were shortages, with some customers having to pay a $25 cross-shipping fee. Now, nothing annoys a consumer more than inconvenience. Intel basically annoyed their customers to the other side, right into Dr. Lisa Su's hands. Which conveniently leads us to our next reason, Intel's financial situation, caused by the lack of innovation and stagnation. Let's take a look at this graph. Showing Intel's net income from 2015 until 2024. I'm not doing revenue because that doesn't show the whole picture. We need to see their profit after all their expenses. As we can see, everything was going swimmingly until 2021 when their financials fell off a damn cliff to a loss of $19.2 billion. Now let's put AMD's net income in there for the same period. Major struggles from 2015 and 2016. But then came the launch of Ryzen in 2017 and their financials started to turn around. Back in 2015, you would have thought Intel was more untouchable than Elliot Ness. In fact, in 2011, Apple paused talks with TSMC to consider a proposal from Intel, but ultimately chose to go with TSMC in the end, with Apple CEO Tim Cook saying, Intel just doesn't know how to be a foundry. Yikes. Maybe Tim Apple can see into the future or something.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
Another way to consider AMD's dominance financially is to take into account diluted earnings per share. It's like the GDP per capita of a country, but for a company. Now, I'm no optometrist, but allow me to explain. Diluted earnings per share, diluted EPS for short, is a financial metric that measures a company's profitability per share, assuming all potential convertible securities are exercised. These securities include stock options, convertible bonds, and warrants, which, if converted, would increase the total number of outstanding shares. By accounting for these potential shares, diluted EPS provides a more conservative estimate of earnings per share, reflecting the worst-case scenario of share dilution. Sorry, that was a long definition. I fell asleep halfway through saying it. Basically, it's how you assess a company's true profitability. In Q4 of 2024, Intel's GAAP diluted EPS, GAAP standing for Generally Accepted Accounting Practices, was 3 cents. AMD's was 29 cents. Using non-GAAP diluted EPS for the same time period, Intel was 13 cents while AMD was $1.09. Want to take a guess at what kind of effect this kind of financial trouble had on a multi-billion-dollar company? They ate all of their losses and continued to employ people at their own expense. I'm just kidding. They laid off 23,000 people since the end of 2022, 16,000 of that in 2024 alone. They laid off more people than most large companies even employ. All of Nvidia employ about 22,500 people as of April 2025. Intel is in a bad place right now. Their stock is volatile, and as a company, they're quite unstable, just like their chips. Their new CEO has received criticism for his investment in Chinese firms, many of whom have connections to the Chinese military. But they still have future prospects. They're developing their new 18A process node, the A in 18A standing for angstrom.
Does the name Angstrom-Levy mean something to you?
Which is 0.1 nanometers, meaning they're developing a 1.8 nanometer process node. They are set to release Falcon Shores this year, an AI chip. They're expanding their manufacturing capabilities, creating new projects and foundry services in partnership with Amazon. And Intel will continue to manufacture chips using TSMC, as they've already done with their latest Lunar Lake mobile chips, ordering $4 billion worth of chips in 2024 and $10 billion in 2025. Their new CEO is quite likely to revive their company so they can start churning out great CPUs again. Maybe they can become even more competitive in the GPU market as well. More competition is always better for the consumer at the end of the day. And with that, thanks for watching. And don't forget to not eat those cake-looking things in the urinal. It's not food. Face reveal at 100,000 subs, guys. We're so close. Like and subscribe.
Out in Beverly Hills, how the fuck could I not be on yet? Almost 30 years old. How the fuck could I not be so hot? When a nigga this cold, give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I